After a hard-fought campaign, or should I say campaigns, it is my honor to utter the four most powerful words ever spoken in a democracy. The people have spoken.
And that was Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock celebrating his runoff victory last night. President Biden also taking a victory lap, tweeting out a picture of him calling and congratulating Warnock, writing, Georgia voters, quote, stood up for democracy and rejected ultra-MAGA-ism. Joining me right now is CPAC Senior Fellow Mercedes Schlapp. Mercedes, great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. Your reaction.
Yeah, great to see you, Maria. Look, it's a disappointing night for Republicans, and this is what we've seen, especially on the Senate races, where we lost these battleground states like Arizona, like Pennsylvania. And a lot of it was we had talented candidates running, but they were novice politicians. There was definitely a sense coming from the voters that they were looking for something a little more what I would call vanilla, more incumbent type of candidates that have run statewide before. I also think that there's a huge discrepancy that's happening right now between the Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats are outraising Republican candidates. The Democrats have a much more organized get-out-the-vote efforts, much more focused on the early voting and really driving the mail-in ballot process much more effectively than the Republicans. This is a wake-up call for the Republican Party, where, in essence, they failed to really have an effective get-out-the-vote effort and really just play the Democrats at their game. And I think that this is something that has to be fixed right now as we're entering into the presidential election season.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask, what is wrong with the Republicans? I mean, could it have been a better moment in time for the Republicans to take power? I'm talking about the last 2 years. I mean, look at the border. It is wide open, a disaster. 5 million people crossing on Joe Biden's watch, 100,000 Americans plus dead of fentanyl or some kind of poisoning, 1 million gotaways. We have no idea what their intentions are. And yet the president traveled to Arizona yesterday, but he did not make a stop at the southern border, despite all of this happening under his nose in Yuma. Peter Doocy asked him the question, and here's what he said. Watch this.
Mr. President, why go to a border state and not visit the border? More importantly than all around, we invest billions of dollars in the rural side.
He says he's got more important things to do, Mercedes.
You know, it's such an outrage when you have the leader of our country basically not really trying to deal and solve the problem at the border. And it really shows the ineffectiveness of this administration to not only provide border security, because at the end of the day, protecting and controlling our borders is about national security, and we're also seeing right now a humanitarian crisis happen at the border, where it's the drug cartels, the human traffickers, who are profiting and benefiting and preying from these vulnerable families, these children that are involved in coming over through the border, bringing over drugs that are getting into all of our communities, Maria. I mean, at what point do the American people say, that's enough? And the problem is that what you're seeing is that there's not enough action being done by the Biden administration. Our Border Patrol agents are demoralized. We've seen an increase in suicides from our Border Patrol officers. It is just a huge tragedy, but it really is up to the American people to speak up and stand up against these Democrat policies. And it's just very frustrating to watch when you see these Democrats being able to win these Senate races, and some of these Democrats win these governor's races as well. It is frustrating because they're not doing enough to stop the border, and the Biden administration, obviously, it is not a priority for them to secure the border.
Yep.
Mercedes, I wanted to ask you, and this came up after the general election, before the runoff. Once again, in the runoff, we're seeing in Georgia record early voting, record turnout for a midterm. Are you getting lots of calls this morning from Democrats and woke CEOs apologizing to Republicans for all of the horrible things they said about duly enacted voting reforms and how they were going to allegedly suppress turnout, disenfranchise people?
Yeah, I mean, great question. Look, I think that Senator Warnock, the mere fact that he, as well as many of these woke companies, they literally drove out Major League Baseball, which, of course, created a void, a vacuum for a lot of those small businesses in Georgia. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace. And it just shows that they were able to put together in Georgia basically a plan where people were going to be able to vote early. There was no voter suppression, as we've seen. And in essence, I think the Democrats should be thanking Governor Kemp and what they were able to accomplish in terms of ensuring that people can get out and vote with plenty of time to do so.
Yeah, real quick on the Twitter story, Elon Musk confirming that Twitter's former deputy general counsel, James Baker, has been fired. Great cover of the New York Post, inside job in this morning's paper. Democrat lawyer secretary secretly blocked release of internal Twitter files. Mercedes, we've been down this road before with this guy. He was one of the peddlers of the Russia collusion lie, and then he ends up on his Chanels at Twitter.
Look, I got to tell you, Maria, this is Elon Musk is teaching us how you transform a woke corporation into where you see a platform of freedom of speech. And the mere fact that he is willing to ensure that this information on the Hunter laptop gets out to the public is so critical, because we have to understand that this is going to be one of the biggest scandals that we're going to see right now when it comes to what happened in the election in 2020,
well,
which was the fact that then they have made this into trying to suppress, the story from the New York Times.
Yeah, it's already been a scandal for years, but he got away with it before, so why not try it again? And a lot of the American people, again, this time from a different post at Twitter. Mercedes, always great to get your input. Thank you so much. Mercedes Schlapp joining us. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.